Hey there, welcome to this explainer. I know you've got a big science chapter coming up, so I put together this ultimate study guide just for you. We're going to unlock the secret rulebook of the universe together to help you absolutely ace it. No more staring at dense textbook pages. We're turning all that information into clear, visual takeaways. You've totally got this. Let's dive right in.
Okay, real quick, I want you to start by asking yourself this question. What do a flower, a literal lightning bolt, and a simple battery all have in common? Sounds kind of like a trick question, right? But the answer is actually the whole foundation of the science chapter you're studying right now. All three of these, living things, sudden electric shocks, and everyday items we use to power our gadgets, they literally all rely on hidden systems and invisible forces to function. And today, we are going to expose exactly how they work.
So, here is our study plan for today. First, we'll uncover the secrets of plant diversity. Second, unlocking static electricity. Third, the power of chemical energy. And finally, acing your next chapter.
All right, let's jump straight into part one, secrets of plant diversity.
We'll start with the visible systems you can actually see and touch right in your own backyard. When you look at the massive plant kingdom, the most basic rule of classification you need to know for your exam is that it divides into two main camps. On one side, we have plants that do not produce flowers, and on the other, we have flowering plants. Yep, producing flowers is their ultimate key characteristic feature. If it makes a flower, boom, it belongs in this massive, diverse club.
Now, if we zoom in on these flowering plants, they generally share a standard toolkit. You'll definitely want to remember these main parts for your test: roots, stem, leaves, flowers, fruits, and seeds. Usually, each of these parts performs one specific, crucial function, like leaves whipping up food or roots sucking up water. But the really neat thing about nature is adaptation, you know? Sometimes these parts adapt and basically moonlight, taking on several other jobs depending on their environment.
Let's see how this builds into an even more specific classification. Flowering plants split into two epic categories based on their physical or morphological features. We call these monocotyledonous plants, or monocots for short, and dicotyledonous plants, affectionately known as dicots. Being able to tell a monocot and a dicot is like a guaranteed question on your test, and the absolute easiest way to tell them apart? Just look straight down at their hidden system, the roots. This brilliantly illustrates the key difference. Take a look at the fibrous root system of a monocot plant. See how those roots spread out everywhere like a messy, tangled head of hair? Now compare that to the dicot's taproot system. It is totally different. It features a single, thick taproot plunging straight down into the soil, with tiny, smaller roots branching off. Fibrous versus taproot. Seriously, lock that visual in your memory right now.
Moving on to part two, unlocking static electricity.
Okay, so we've mastered the visible structures. Now let's talk about forces you can actually feel. If you've ever rubbed a balloon on your head and stuck it to a wall, you've literally manipulated this invisible force. To understand it for your chapter, you just need to memorize this golden rule of electricity that dictates exactly how static charges interact. It is elegantly simple. Like electric charges repel each other, they actively push away. But unlike electric charges, attract each other. Positives want to get away from other positives for sure, but a positive and a negative, they'll snap right together.
So how do we even get these charges to appear in the first place? Friction. Depending on exactly what materials you rub together, you generate different invisible charges. For example, if you rub a glass rod with a piece of silk, that glass rod actually gains a positive static electric charge. But if you take an ebonite rod, which is just a fancy term for hard rubber, and you rub it with wool, it picks up a negative static electric charge.
Now, since we obviously can't see positive or negative charges with our naked eyes, how do scientists actually measure this invisible force? Well, they use this awesome device called a gold leaf electroscope. It has a metal plate on top connected to a super delicate little leaf of actual gold inside. When you bring a charged object, like that glass rod, or even just a plastic drinking straw rubbed with polythene near the top plate, the gold leaf deflects. It physically moves, proving that the invisible charge is really there.
All right, on to part three, the power of chemical energy.
Let's keep exploring. We've talked about plants and static shocks, so finally, let's look at chemical energy. Here is the exact definition you need for your exam. Chemical energy is the energy stored inside chemical substances that is released during chemical reactions. Honestly, just think of it like a tightly coiled spring, locked away inside molecules, just sitting there, waiting for the exact right trigger to be set free.
Imagine you're performing this exact experiment in your school laboratory. Step 1, you take a test tube and carefully add some dilute hydrochloric acid. Step 2, you drop a small piece of solid magnesium ribbon right into that acid. Step 3, you just observe. What happens? The acid and the metal react vigorously. Heat and gas are produced almost instantly. What you are watching in real time is the sudden release of the energy that was secretly stored in those chemicals. The chemical reaction basically unlocked the door.
But the crazy thing is, you don't even need a science lab to find chemical energy. It is quite literally making your daily life possible. It is powering your own body right this second, through the food you eat. It's in the kerosene oil on the firewood we use for fuel. It is the explosive potential packed inside firecrackers, the spark waiting inside a matchstick, and the power stored inside the dry cell batteries we use in our flashlights and remotes. It's everywhere.
And finally, part 4, acing your next chapter.
Okay, let's tie all these invisible forces and hidden systems together so you are totally 100% prepped to ace this test. The crucial thing is that this whole chapter really boils down to 3 big concepts. I highly recommend you take a mental screenshot of this cheat sheet right now. First, plant diversity. Remember that monocots have fibrous roots and dicots have tap roots. Second, static electricity. Remember the plus and minus charges and that like repels while unlike attracts. And third, chemical energy. Remember, it's the hidden energy stored in chemical substances, from the food in your lunchbox to the fuels powering the world, and it's released through reactions.
I want to leave you with this one final thought today. When you close your books, don't just leave all this science on the page. Look around. How are you going to spot these hidden systems in your daily life? Will you notice a dicot weed growing in a sidewalk? Will you feel that static sap when taking off your sweater? Will you think about the chemical energy powering you up at dinner tonight? Science isn't just in a textbook. It is the secret rulebook of absolutely everything around you. Keep your eyes peeled, stay curious, and get some good sleep tonight, okay? You are going to do amazing on this test.